What's up out there, everyone? I hope you're having a great Monday. Had a great weekend. We're recording this at 11 p.m. on Saturday night, right after the college slate. Actually, Penn State and Oregon just went to overtime as we're recording this, but we're going to drop this Monday morning. So I hope you had a fantastic weekend, having a good day to the start of your work week, and welcome into another draft edition of the Barking Brown Show. We're your hosts. I'm Jacob. That's Bill. We're brought to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. You want to get some tickets to some games, some live action shows, a concert, perhaps something of that situation. Go to SeatGeek, use our promo code Barking Browns, all one word, get $20 off that first purchase. Make sure you hit that subscribe on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever the heck you're checking us out. Subscribe, rate us, give us a thumbs up, and check us out on TikTok because we do some exclusive short video content over there at the Barking Browns on TikTok. Bill, how are we doing, man? It's been a freaking great day of college football today.
Man, listen, we started. If you haven't seen our episode on the top 10 quarterback rankings, go back and check that out. We aired it Saturday morning beforehand. We talked about this slate, how great it was going to be and how great it was going to end up being. And it didn't disappoint, man. As we speak right now, as we're recording this, Penn State and Oregon are in overtime. Alabama and Georgia are going down to the wire. And, probably ended up being a great game as well. But there was some bad we got to talk about, and I'm going to kick it off, man. The Nuss bus is on bricks at this point. Like it did not look good. It did not look average. You and I were texting about it before we kicked off, and we even talked about it in the studio beforehand. He at this point is a game manager at quarterback and is not a guy you're going to at the college level. Like, in what world do you go 21 of 34, 197 yards and a touchdown and think that you are going to play at a high level in the NFL? Like, and on top of that, you have outlier size, right? You're 6 foot, 200 pounds flat, right? You don't have a top flight arm. It's kind of a B to B plus arm, right? So at that point, you have to rely on your processing ability, which there were some question marks and some boneheaded throws in this game too against Ole Miss. Man, are you still on the Nuss bus, or are you with me? It's on bricks on the side of the highway somewhere.
I think it blew a tire. So I'm not totally ready to take all of the tires off and put it on bricks, but one of those things is low on air. Like there's a thumping in the driver's going, man, maybe I should pull this thing over. Maybe I should call a mechanic and have him look at this thing, because
Right.
I thought for a lot of he had stretches in this game that made me be like, oh look, there is Garrett Nussmeier right there. That's the guy that I like. That's the guy that flashed enough for me to make him quarterback 2 coming out of summer. I had him at 2 coming out of summer scouting. So you saw that guy here and there, but you also saw a guy that's not a first round pick for a good chunk of that too. So I love Nussmeier. I still believe he can be that guy, but the ceiling that I'm giving him, it feels like the ceiling's moving down. The floor still feels like it is where it is. I still feel like the floor is, because like you said, it wasn't like he threw 7 interceptions. He had 200 yards. He did a little bit here and there. He needed his teammates to elevate him, and when they didn't, you saw what happened. They lose that game.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is not a first-round quarterback. So he's flirting with that right now. I really want to see him bounce back, but you're getting to the point where I have to keep saying that. And so that's probably ultimately where we are with Garrett Nussmeier, where it's like, man, you're going to have to really put together some big performances in the coming weeks to get this thing back on track, because it's blown a tire and it's slowing down quickly.
I agree, man. I think when you look at the other quarterbacks that played on Saturday and how well they played, which another guy we'll talk about, Fernando Mendoza, right? Jaden Mayava, other guys like that, even Ty Simpson in the Alabama game, even Dante Moore right now, as we record this, and the things he's doing against Oregon and Penn State. I just think that the scene, you hit it, the ceiling is getting lower for Garrett Nussmeier. And at a certain point, he's going to be just a high floor guy. And how high do you take a high floor quarterback with outlier size and doesn't really have any major traits, so to speak? But jumping to the next one, I'm going to ask this question. Jeremiah Love at running back 1, are we back? Because, I mean, he
Oh
looked
God.
great. He looked great against Arkansas.
He had 4 first half touchdowns, and it was like they were doing it. Did he? I think in the first half, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I was looking at his stats because every time I would pop over to that game or get a highlight or something, he seemed to be scoring, and it was like, oh wait, that was as a receiver, and that was as a runner, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I kind of like, okay, what's going on? And I popped over, and I think he had more receiving yards than he had rushing yards in the first half, but he still
Yeah.
had like 50 receiving yards. But he had like 70, he had like 50 rushing yards and 70 receiving or something, and
Yeah.
4 total touchdowns. I thought when we started this season, I wondered if he was still a little banged up or something because his usage, especially against Miami, was really, really weird. And you were kind of like, that's like, because everybody had him as their running back 1, it seems like that
Mhm.
was one of those few things that a lot of draft people could agree on. And it kind of started off shaky, but today he showed you like, hey, I'm a weapon from multiple different facets. I can line up in different places and do different things. And he's probably firmly a top 15 player for me, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Ended up with 127 yards and 4 touchdowns combined. For me right now, he is currently sitting at number 15, and I have 15 first round grades. He is number 15, and that's just because, like you talked about, the Miami game was so inconsistent, and Arkansas is Arkansas, probably one of the
Yeah,
worst
right.
teams defensively in the college football ranking. And by this point, by the time this comes out Monday, they probably also have a new head coach. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, he looked every bit the part of a running back 1 that we talked about coming into the season. And it's good to see another guy I want to shine some light on, my wide receiver 1, Casey
Mm,
Concepcion.
mm,
7 catches, 113 yards in the win over Auburn. Just looked every bit the burst, the speed, the yards after the catch ability. Just was a weapon for Marcel Reed. You take away Casey Concepcion's 113 yards, the next closest receiver, 34 yards.
yeah.
He was the offense against Auburn. Yes, they had Le'Veon Moss, who had 21 carries for 139 yards and a touchdown. But in terms of the passing offense, Casey Concepcion got it done against Auburn and just absolutely showed why he's my wide receiver 1.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I completely understand. I'm still at Jordan Tyson, who had a big game yesterday. Just for everybody checking in, these Monday episodes, we're going to drop them. They're going to be recorded right after college football, where it's fresh in our mind and we can talk about some of these prospects and then just kind of go through the day. We're just going to kind of talk about who impressed us, who didn't, that sort of thing. And that's how we're going to start this week. I'm glad you were pulling up stats for your guys because I'm like I've got some guys I wanted to talk about, but I didn't pull up some of their stats like a dumbass. So I went ahead and did that real quick. Talking about wide receivers, man, Makai Lemon from USC had himself a day today. He ends up with 11 catches for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. He should have had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns because of the
Mm-hmm.
ineligible man downfield. Um, where if you go watch that ineligible man downfield play where it was like, what was it? It was a reverse that got then lateraled back to Mayava, who then threw it to Makai Lemon down the field, who then did some really nifty stuff with the ball in his hands. Like Makai
Yeah.
Lemon yards after the catch and his ability to stop, start, and accelerate and get up to his top speed is
Mm-hmm.
truly special. He is a smaller guy. He's probably a slot only guy at the next level, but he is a dynamic playmaker with the ball in his field, and he looked great again today. Ooh.
You say so. For those of you that are watching, like Jacob talked about, we are recording this on Saturday night as the Penn State Oregon game
Brother,
is
that is
going on
targeting.
overtime. That is, and right now we're at the targeting call. But listen, I'm with you on Makai Lemon. I'm lower on him just because of the frame, man. Like you and I have talked about, I just don't see him as anything more than a slot receiver, and he'll be a really good one. So
Yeah.
let's not get that twisted. But
Yep.
how high does a team take a slot receiver in the NFL draft, especially if you're a team like the Browns, who Jerry Jeudy does his best work in the slot, and you don't really have that X boundary receiver? Are you really going to have a team full of slot receivers and then nobody can really work the outside? So that's my concern. But God, he after the catch, dude, he's just electric.
He just, the fact that he goes from moving as fast as he does to not moving at all, like his ability to literally, like, it's like we talk about Myles Garrett's. Did they say that wasn't targeting?
That's what it looks like to me because it's 4th and 1.
That, how in the world is that? Anybody that's watching this, you
Yeah,
guys
like
are
I don't.
experiencing this with me. Yeah. So let me see what else I got, guys. I wanted to talk about. We talked about. Okay, that's first down. Cool. Just wanted to know. You talked about Fernando Mendoza a little bit today. The thing about Fernando Mendoza, we talked about it on Saturday. He's our quarterback one. You could tell that he played a probably the best defense that he's seen this year. You could tell, especially he had a touchdown like right away, but then that offense kind of went stagnant for a while. And I think I give Iowa a lot of credit for kind of confusing Mendoza in the offense, and they were just playing really well. And Mendoza just, for a little bit, he just wasn't quite as decisive in on time, and just, I think they got him a little confused with some of that stuff. But when they needed him, touchdown Ducks. When they needed him the most, though, Mendoza said, "Oh, you need me to go down here and score a touchdown and win this football game," and that's exactly what he did. And I would be remiss if, while giving Mendoza some praise and saying, guess what? This is the way I looked at it for Mendoza. And you can add anything you want to it, but it was this simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was another test that he checked off.
Bingo.
It wasn't great, but you could see him adjusting throughout the game and being like, okay, I can't keep doing this. It's not working. Like, I need to get through my reads quicker. I need to, look in different directions, avoid certain defenders and that sort of thing. You could tell he's like, all right, I need to make some changes. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about his wide receiver, Elijah Surratt, because that touchdown, he takes that. I actually, so how I want to start this out is I want to apologize to Elijah Surratt, because I said his speed was nothing special coming out of summer, because he looked to me like he was like an average runner. You know what I mean? Like, he was explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was explosive, but I was like, that top speed, I just don't think it's enough.
There's no fifth gear.
Yeah, you have that fifth gear that I must just have watched the wrong damn games when I watched them in summer from last year. That is, I point blank wrong about that, because we talk about dynamics with Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon's a little bit more dynamic and explosive, but Elijah Surratt, man, there is a world where if you tell me he goes top 50, even first round, I would believe you. I'm not sure I'm there quite there yet, but if he goes on this trajectory, if you come from the future and you say Elijah Surratt was, who would do it too? The little dicks, because they just keep collecting them. It'd be Tampa Bay. They just keep collecting all these really crazy, dynamic, playful. They're like, oh, we don't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin anymore. Well, here's Emeka Egbuka and Elijah Surratt.
Right. And for what it's worth, he's in my top 10 wide receivers. And you know what my comp is for Surratt? Sure-handed, chain-moving receiver, has speed but doesn't have a sixth gear but has burst. Michael Crabtree. Yeah. And that's and you're spot on, because that's like a Tampa Bay type of pick where they stack those types of receivers up. But listen, We talked about him on the quarterback ranking show as we took questions from the audience. So again, if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But Haynes King at Georgia Tech, man, he was a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, 349 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns by himself. Like, and like I get it. That you and I talked about it. We talked about it there. With Haynes King, touchdown Ducks. With Haynes King, man, he's not an NFL caliber passer. Like, he'll be a spot starter at best, probably a career backup, a guy like a Taysom Hill-esque create some plays for. But 21 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. The dude can run.
Dude, I'm sorry, but this touchdown throw from Dante Moore in double overtime, that was a stupid throw on the run.
Mm-hmm.
We told you guys this. We told you guys this talking about Dante Moore as our quarterback 5.
God.
Did he throw a pick
on the 2-point conversion, and then they fumbled it?
Okay, so they just have to stop the 2-point conversion.
Oh my
God! Oh, Bubby, how did you not see that?
That is so that throw right there of the 2-point conversion, and folks, that again, if you're tuning into this when we're recording this Saturday night, we're in the middle of the Oregon Penn State overtime matchup. This will air on Monday mornings, just so we can kind of get our thoughts out of the college football slate while it's really fresh in our mind. That 2-point conversion throw is an epitome of, I am a quarterback that only has 9 career starts.
Yes. Yep.
That is exhibit A as to why he should not come out. Because if he had 19 or 29 career starts, he sees that linebacker.
Yeah, he sees that linebacker every time. Yeah, that was, and you said that earlier about Dante Moore, about like that's what this game was. It was like he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. And then he had some great throws and some great moments. And then he does no.
Ball game.
Oh, let me guess. Drew Aller fumbles on a sack. That's what I'm going to guess. Don't tell me. I want to see.
You'll get Drew Aller right.
Oh. Was that Dylan Thieneman?
I think it was Thieneman.
I've been talking about Dylan Thieneman all summer. Dylan Thieneman with the pick of Drew Aller in this double overtime so that Oregon goes into Penn State. Drew Aller loses another big game, double overtime. Dylan Thieneman, check that. You want you a ball hawking super crazy. He just made an insane athletic play. If you want to know why I like Dylan Thieneman as a deep safety, why he was my safety 2 behind Caleb Banks, go watch that pick he just made. For me, it just happened. For you guys, happened a couple days ago. Go watch the pick he just made against Drew Aller in double overtime. Just a freaky, crazy leap up athletic play. So now he gets a shout out. Wasn't on my list to get shouted out, but he's getting a shout out.
100%. And again, for anyone, if you haven't seen it, go check out our quarterback rankings, because we talked about Drew Aller, and you and I have had this conversation with him. He has the arm and he is athletic, but the little things like mechanics, like accuracy, like ball placement on that interception to Thieneman, it's just not there. He makes the easy stuff hard and the hard stuff easy.
Yeah, I'm going to change my thing over here to the Alabama game now. We talked about it. Like you said, we talked about it on the quarterback show, but this is just further proof to me where, is this game over too?
Oh, yeah, they just wrapped that up, which Ty Simpson. And listen, it feels like we're talking a lot about quarterbacks, but that does drive a lot of obviously what the Browns are looking for going into this draft cycle, as well as college football. Is quarterback play is important. But listen, we talked about Ty Simpson too. My comp for him was Kirk Cousins, and he played like that against Georgia tonight. He played very effectively. He moved the ball down the field. But like, you go and you look at guys like Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza, and then you go and you watch Drew Aller. Like, you and I talked about it in the studio before we kicked the show off, man. Every time Drew Aller throws, it's like he's doing the Joe Burrow 360 no-scope throw in practice because of where his feet are pointed and where his mechanics are leading him towards. And that's why a lot of the passes sail to the left or to the right.
Yeah, it was not a good day for Drew Aller. It continues to not be a good day. He's still in my top 10, but when the next updated thing comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops out of it because he just continues to. He had one crazy touchdown throw, and you know that you told me this pregame. You're like, they're gonna put that on loop all draft cycle, and it's like, yeah, and that's like the one play. Did he have what, like 50% completion or something like that in this?
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna pull it up right now because he was at 11 of 19 when we kicked off.
Yeah,
13 to 24, so just over 50%.
What did he throw for?
132.
And that's with an overtime. Yeah.
And that's with an overtime, 2 TDs and 1 INT. And that 1 INT was the game sealer.
Which also made Oregon win, which made my parlay hit. So thank you, Drew Aller. A couple of other guys I want to talk about. We did the Dante Moore thing. Dante Moore looks really good, but he looks young. Looks like he needs some more time. That's what we saw from him. Ty Simpson, I think you're kind of saying a little bit of the same thing about Ty Simpson, like that he's getting he needs a little bit more time, but he's looking like Kirk Cousins. So,
yeah.
Are you comfortable? Do you think Ty Simpson can come out, or do you think same thing with Ty Simpson that he needs another year?
I would be comfortable in him coming out, and and I say that provided on who else declares. Like if we get to the end of the year and Sellers and Moore declare, as Sellers, Moore, and Mateer declare, and then like Arch goes back, which we all expect him to, then at that point I say to Ty Simpson, go back and take your chances. But if, say, Sellers goes back and Moore goes back and it's just Mendoza, Childs, and then, Nussmeier, I say Ty Simpson come on out, because at that point I think he would be better than those guys. Right now he's my QB8, and the guys above him didn't play all that great today. For the ones that did play, Taylor Green at Arkansas, Dante Moore at Oregon, he played okay. He played like a person that had their 10th start in a whiteout condition. That's what you saw tonight.
Yeah, but some big moments in that whiteout. Like for me, Dante Moore was the guy that went out there and goes, look, it reminds me of what I've seen from Lenore Sellers at South Carolina, where he goes out there and he goes, look, the ceiling is very high. I have the talent. Like Dante Moore showed me, he has the talent to be an NFL quarterback. I won't go further than that, but he has the talent to get there. But he also had some moments where it's like, but maybe it's not right now. And like, that's okay. That's totally okay. But that's where I am kind of with that one. I want to move real quick to a couple more and give you some time to do a couple more shout outs as well. One guy I wanted to do real quick, I just wanted to get my obligatory Buckeye in here. I had to, it's in our contract with the World.
Yeah.
The World wrote us a contract and said we have to mention Ohio State at least once. Pay the bills. And that's Ohio State defensive end Caden Curry, who has come from freaking nowhere. Like, I'm an Ohio State guy. I didn't know who Caden Curry is. I didn't realize he had been there all this time. He was a rotational piece behind all those, the two seniors and behind Kenyatta Jackson and things like that. Today against Washington, he had 3 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks coming into this game. So he's got 5 sacks on the season already through 4 games now. His hands, man, that dude's hands are just violence. Like the violence that come out of that dude's hands. He's so aggressive and in your face, and good athlete, good motor. So keep your eye on Caden Curry for the Buckeyes for the rest of the year, because he's making some noise. Like Kenyatta Jackson got a sack again today too, because they beat the crap out of Washington's quarterback. Ohio State did, but Caden Curry 3 sacks for the Buckeyes today. So kind of a sleeper name to watch. He's kind of a day 3 guy for me right now, just because I don't have a ton on him. But oh my God, is he moving up the board if he keeps doing shit like this?
100%. And I'm glad you talked about moving up the board, because I'm going back to the SEC, because this guy has moved up my board to the point where he is at the top of this positional ranking. It's LSU corner Mansour Delane, 11 tackles against Ole Miss. It looked like he was just all over the field. The few times they did throw to him, He shut it down. And there was a clear, you watch Trinidad Chambliss, he was looking, where is number 4? There, I'm going here. He did not want any part of it. And that is a true shutdown corner. But he's not the only corner. AJ Hollisey, number 13, 13 tackles. And then I'm going to throw in, it's going to be an LSU defense theme for this shout out because I'm going to throw in Lane Kiffin's new son-in-law, the way it was talked about all week long. Whit Weeks at linebacker with 10 tackles. You're talking between those 3 players. You mean to tell me that's 34 tackles between 3 players? That's flying all over the football field. And if they had gotten more help offensively, LSU probably pulls out that win.
Yeah. Our buddy Jeff just sent in the Discord with the Penn State loss. He said, we are overrated again.
I mean, were they ever really underrated to begin with?
No, I suppose not. Not. I'm looking. They're replaying that Dante Moore touchdown throw in second overtime before the pick, and I'm just like, yeah, I can work with that. If I can get some more of that, I can work with the tools that he's got. But let's talk about one of his guys, right? Kenyon Sadiq, his tight end, who it looks like may have suffered an injury there towards the end of the game. So hoping he's okay because he looks like one of the more complete tight ends that's played this year. Kind of a physical freak in terms of his size and athletic ability, and he would like to hit you in the run game as a blocker as well. I think he might enjoy that more than catching passes and running for yards. I think he looks like that kind of tight end that like he's like, oh, I get to hit somebody this play. You know, we played with kids like that when we were kids, right? The ones that we know are psychopaths now that are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hurt this guy. That's Kenyon Sadiq at the tight end position 100%. For Oregon. He's firmly Max Clare was my number 1. Kenyon Sadiq is really making a play for my number 1 tight end role. I'm not ashamed to admit that. And I thought he looked really good tonight.
No, 100%. Another guy that I liked, and shout out to Corey Kinnan. Both of you and I have talked with Corey extensively, good friend of the show. He shouted this guy out as being high on him. And I didn't see it at first, I will admit. But he started to grow on me. Louisville wide receiver Chris Bell.
I was wondering how long it would take for his name to be brought up. Yeah.
10 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown. Granted, Miller Moss threw 51 attempts today, and as a guy who was a Miller Moss fan coming into the season and still somewhat is a Miller Moss fan, he should not be throwing 51 passing attempts at any point in any Louisville game ever. If he's doing that, there is a problem. And there was, because Isaac Brown only had 14 carries for 20 yards. But Chris Bell has a size and speed combination that cannot be matched. I mean, he's, I think, 6'2", 210, and runs a 4.4 flat. Like, the dude can fly. And, like, listen, if you told me you were taking Chris Bell in the top 100, sign me up. Give me the jersey.
I'm cool with it. I just realized that the quarterback for BYU wears like his numbers in the 40s. Did you know that?
Number 46. Bear. His first name's Bear Bachmeier.
I don't know. You made that name up.
I did not. I did. My friend, my dear friend Jacob, I wish I could make that up, but you cannot make that up. Bear Bachmeier from BYU wears number 47 as a quarterback. You cannot make that up.
For anybody out there that hasn't seen the Progressives commercial where Teddy Bridgewater gets subbed in as the substitute listener, please go Google that on YouTube because it's fantastic. It just came on my TV again, so I just wanted everybody to go watch that. One of my last guys I want to get to, we'll start to wrap this up. We'll keep this Monday show more towards just about a half hour. So we're just kind of really more so than anything. We're just kind of bullshitting about what we saw from these prospects today. And then we get more into details on Saturday. I think next Monday is going to be a first round mock, I think is what we're going to look to do. So As Trevor Sikkema and Connor Rogers, who I think are the best in the business when it comes to a draft podcast over on the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, they always say, well, the Bills are due, so we have to do a mock draft episode. And that is what happened. Our Bills are due, and we have to do that. So we're going to do that next week. Mateo Uaongalale, I think is how you say his name. Is that who knows? We'll Google
That's what I've got. Yeah.
And so where's number 10 for Oregon? He's the pass rusher. He had a heck of a day today. This is very early, so I don't have like pass rush win rate or pressure numbers or anything that I would normally get, like the data that I would get for PFF. But he made an impact in both facets of the game today against Penn State. He was excellent against the run. He was pressuring Aller. I think he had a sack, or maybe he just had a hit. I just remember him making Aller's life a living hell. One of the biggest knocks about him was, can he play the run going into this year? There was a lot of concerns about, like, maybe he's just a DPR. And but what is he, 19 or 20? He's like, somehow he's like in his like third year or whatever, but he's only like 19 years old. It's like some crazy thing. And he's got all this. We talked about him as like this potential guy that just wasn't there. He had to refine his game. He had to get more productive and more consistent. And I thought he was really good in this game. So Mateo Uaongalale, the pass rusher from Oregon, gets my final shout out of the week as a guy that, just like the wide receiver class, I'm slowly warming up more and more on this edge class. It's got some guys, man. It's got some guys.
It 100% does. And listen, my final guy that I want to shout out tonight, he has been a guy that has been creeping up radars at the wide receiver position, just stacking games on games on games. Chris Brazzell from Tennessee. 6 catches, 105 yards, and 1 touchdown in the overtime victory over Mississippi State. The guy has every bit of top 100 talent. And every time I see him, I see Cortland Sutton 2.0. And if you told me that the Browns wanted to take another Tennessee volunteer wide receiver and it was Chris Brazzell, I would say, light it up. Run the card up at the top of the 3rd round and do not look back.
Yeah. I think that's a very, very, very fair, very clean, good call from you. Guys, we appreciate you guys so much for checking us out here on a Monday morning. I hope you have a great week. We will be back Saturday for some more banter. We did our top 10 quarterbacks. I don't think we're really set on Saturday's episode, the live episode on 10 a.m., what exactly we'll be talking about. But we'll figure it out, I know
just got to tune in and find out. They got to show up and see what we're going to talk about.
And if you go to TikTok, I always make a TikTok the day before and kind of talk about what we're going to be talking about, because I made the one about Fernando Mendoza. So please go check us out over on the TikTok too at the Barking Browns. That is everything. We should have our new intro song probably by the next episode. We appreciate you guys so much. I know for sure for the Browns, the Barking Browns, the Browns podcast side of things, I know we will have one Wednesday afternoon. I don't know if there will be anything before then, but we'll have one Wednesday afternoon and Friday evening for you as well this week. So stay tuned into the channel. We appreciate you guys so much. We will see you guys again next time. Until then, go Browns.
Go Browns.